What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Mr. Smitty's YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be continuing our progression through VCarve. It's a software created by Vetric that we're going to use with our mini CNC machine and also our large scale 4 foot by 8 foot CNC. All right, so in your previous video, you kind of learned the basics, but in this video, we're going to start working with images and pull on some of that Adobe Illustrator knowledge that we already have. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I want you to pull up two different things. I want you to have Vetric up, right? So Vetric VCarve. At this point, you should be pretty familiar with that. And then you also need to have Adobe Illustrator. So I'm going to show you how to work with an image directly in VCarve and also then work with an image that you have created in Illustrator. All right, so this video is going to focus on just working strictly with images. All right, so let's just start in VCarve. Kind of my idea for this is we're going to come back to cornhole boards, right? They're very popular, but we're going to create a set that would go on top of a desk. All right, so what I want you to do is go up here to the top left and click Create New File. All right, and then for your width, I want you to do 25. Actually, let's do 26. And our height is going to be 26. And our thickness is going to be 0.5. Want to make sure you're on inches. Material surface. You want your XY position to be the bottom left. So we're making our 0, 0 the bottom left of the board. And then once you have that, I'll hold it here for a second. Make sure you click pause if you need to. All right, I'm gonna click OK. Um, okay, so we're using desktop right now, so that's kind of what I thought. We can't go over 25. All right, so make sure um, when we go to print this, we're gonna have to change it back. All right, so now that I've made this mistake, I want to show you how to fix it. If you go up here to edit and go to job size and position, it'll bring us right back to this. All right, so if you ever mess up your dimensions, that's how you come back. All right, so I want you to change it to 25 by 25. All right, so that way it'll actually cut out on our machine. All right, so we're going to start by creating two rectangles. So we want to build out our cornhole boards. All right, so I'm going to click the Draw Rectangle tools, the third one under Create Vectors. And I want it to be, so if we're doing like a tabletop, I'm going to shrink this down. Normally they're 48 inches by 24 inches. So let's do like a fourth of that. So if I take 48 and divide it by 4, I get 12. 12 tall and 6 wide. All right, 24 divided by 4 is 6. All right, and then I'm gonna, up here, my anchor point, I want it to be the bottom left, and I'm gonna click Create. All right, so here's my first cornhole board. All right, so it's actually kind of small. So I want to make it a little bigger. So I think I'm actually going to double it. So I'm going to go back up here. Now that I'm going to highlight. So I'm going to click on my rectangle. And then when I click the Draw Rectangle tool, I can edit the size. All right. So I'm going to double it. I'm going to do 12 by 24. All right. So there we go. There's a nice cornhole board. All right. So I need two of these. So I'm going to highlight, Control C, Control V, and then I'm going straight to my arrow key while it's still highlighted, and I'm just holding down to go right. So that way I can create two of these. All right, and I'm gonna just kind of move them off the edge for now. And you'll see why later when I do the toolpath. All right, so there's my two tops for my cornhole boards. All right, there's the tops of them. And now I need to place my circles on there. So I'm going to just draw a circle. The circle is normally of diameter 6. So we cut everything in half. Um, so we're just going to do a diameter of 3, so 1.5 would be our radius. All right, and for the purpose of this, guys, I'm not placing this perfect. I'm just going to eyeball the center. So I just want you to eyeball the center because we're worried about learning the tools, not making a perfect tool set right now. All right, so that kind of looks like the center. All right, again, Control C, Control V. I'm going to move it over. All right, so cornhole boards are set up, right? So what this video is really about is about the graphics. All right, so what I'm concerned about is actually, creating or taking images and putting them on these cornhole boards. So on this one, so I'm going to add some text. I'm going to say Adobe Illustrator. All right. And then I'm just going to click close. And over here under transform objects, the second one will allow you to scale this. Or if you just click on it, double click on it, then you can scale it yourself. All right. Either one, go find the tool. All right, so I'm gonna do one cornhole board with Adobe Illustrator. All right, and then my other cornhole board is gonna be VCarve trace. So again, double click on your text, and then you can shrink it down. And so those are the two different methods I'm going to show you in this video. The cornhole board and the VCarve trace, or Adobe Illustrator and VCarve trace. All right, so Adobe Illustrator, right? I'm going to go to File, New. And, size doesn't really matter. I'm just using the 20 by 12 that we used with when we did Glowforge, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to now pick an image. So I'm going to go to the internet. Let's see, what's something popular right now? What's something, well, not necessarily popular, but trying to think. Maybe I'll do PlayStation and Xbox, right? There's always a big controversy. All right, so um, I've got my Google, and I typed in PlayStation silhouette. So try to decide if I want to do a controller. Do I want to do the logo? I think I kind of want to do the controllers. So what I'm looking for is just a good picture of a controller. A lot of these are kind of old. This one looks pretty good here. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can use that picture. I may even just right click it, save image, or to my desktop. All right, let me see if I can use that image. All right, so I'm just dragging that image. Actually, I wanted to drag that into Illustrator. All right, so I want to show you first how to do it in Illustrator. So let me grab that and drag it into Illustrator. Okay. So Illustrator couldn't deal with that file, of course. So I'm going to go find another one. Let's do PS5 controller, PSP. So see if we can find a PS5 controller. Okay, there. Look, that looks like a good one. Can I copy it and paste it into here? I can't. All right, so we got our PS5 controller. All right, so if you remember when we're in Illustrator, the way you handle an image is to actually click on the image, go up to the top to image trace, and you have your little drop down box here. And we're gonna do 3 colors because it's black and white. All right, once it's traced, which it's traced now, you click expand at the top, then you right click and ungroup, and what that allows us to do is remove the background, and you'll see that all these little spaces inside my controller, there's actually space there. All right, so the way I can double check is if I highlight the controller again and I go to my paint and I click on black. All right, if I click on white, the whole controller disappears. If I click on black, then it should look like the controller. If I had any extra pieces, let me show you. All right, so now I've Control Z'd a lot. All right, let me Control Z a few more times. Okay, if I click black, Control Z some more. Okay, so now some of the buttons are back, and if I click on black, you see how the buttons went black? So that's how I know I need to go in there and delete those. Okay. Let me make sure I have all the buttons deleted. And I can double check by highlighting it and pressing black. All right, and it's all good. All right, so I've manipulated my image now. So if I want to put this image into VCarve, there's really 2 different file types you can use. One's an SVG and one's an EPS. So if I go to File, well, let me save it first. So I'm gonna save it on my computer into my OneDrive, and I'm just gonna name it PS Controller. All right. Now File Save As. All right, and I'm gonna need to, instead of .ai, change it to a .eps. All right, encapsulated post script, I believe, encapsulated something something script. All right, and then I'm gonna click save. All right, click OK. So now, if I actually go and find that file, right, I'm going to find that file. It's this one right here that has the little white rectangle with black on it. If I pull up Illustrator and then I take this file and I drag it into Illustrator, you will see that I now have my controller created as an outline. All right, so that .eps actually makes it an outline. All right, so I want to move this, and I'm going to move it, let's say, like right here, and then click apply. And then I think I'm going to double, okay, so it's not grouped. All right, so if I highlight the whole thing and right click and click group, now it is a group, so I can change the size of all of it. So I'm going to double click, or I'm going to click, double click, make it bigger. And I'm going to use my arrow keys just to kind of, if I hear me pressing the arrow keys, I'm just going to position it in the middle. All right. So that's how you would do it with Adobe Illustrator. All right. That's how you would come in here and create an image and drag it into VCarve. All right. So now to do the VCarve trace, let's actually go to the internet and let's look for an Xbox controller. All right. There's a lot of good ones, right? They come right up. Let's just try to do this one here. So save image, Xbox. And okay, so I'm gonna see if I could just drag it. So really guys, I'm done with Illustrator. I showed y'all how to use it. So I'm gonna exit Illustrator. All right, I'm gonna take my Xbox controller and I'm gonna drag it into VCarve and drop it. All right, so I now have this. All right, so you can use Illustrator, and in my opinion, it's a little better to do my design in Illustrator and then export it. But if you want to just do it all in VCarve, you can click on your picture, and there's this little bird over here on the top left. It's called the trace bitmap. If I click on that, and I tell it, okay, what type of tracing? Well, this is a black and white picture, so I want to do black and white. And these are kind of some thresholds that you can change, but I just want to click preview first. Okay, so I clicked preview, and if you look, now it's actually outlined the controller. The controller has an outline around it. Let me kind of move this way. Right, so you can go in here and maybe move some of these a little bit and click preview and just see if it changes at all. When you're doing more complex stuff, you might want to do that. But I'm just going to click apply. All right, because I'm done. So now I actually want to click on the image and click delete, and I'm left with my Xbox outline. Not gonna lie to y'all, the Xbox controller ain't looking as good right now. It's not looking as good. Hold on, let me turn off my alarms. All right, so I'm gonna highlight the Xbox controller, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make it bigger. So I'm gonna double click it and drag it to make it a little bigger. And I'm just gonna put it right there. All right, so at this point, I have basically the designs for my cornhole board tops that I'm creating. All right, so what I want to do now is I need to do the toolpaths. So I'm going to start with the PlayStation controller here. I'm going to right click and ungroup it. So you always want to ungroup it just be so that, and same thing with Xbox, right click and ungroup. Because your toolpaths, you might want to do different things for different stuff. Okay. And I'm going to show you what I mean. So over here on the right, I'm going to click on the toolpaths tab, and you see this little pin, it looks like a little tack. If you click on that, it'll pin this to your side. All right, so now mine is pinned. So I'm actually gonna real quickly, guys. I think I'm gonna move my webcam over for y'all. Well, maybe. Not let me move my webcam right now. So I'll just have to kind of work around it. So first off, just a reminder about text. All right. Well, not really a reminder. We haven't done this yet. So I'm gonna do the text first. All right. So I'm gonna click on that, and I'm gonna hold down Shift and click on VCarve Trace. And now we're gonna do what's called a VCarve engraving toolpath. So whenever you're doing text, you want to use a VCarve. Basically, it takes a V-bit and it puts it down into those grooves to carve it out. All right, so I'm going to click on that. All right, start depth 0, flat depth. We don't want to go very deep, so I'm going to say 0.15. All right, so that's 0.15. For my tool, make sure you're in imperial tools, because that means inches. All right, and we're going to use a 60 degree 1/4. So just click that one and click select. And I think that's it. So let's just give it a name. So I'm gonna call this text. Yeah, text. All right. Make sure your things are selected. All right. They have to be purple. When we did the first thing, some of y'all made this mistake when we did the street sign. All right. So click on the word Adobe Illustrator, hold down Shift, and click VCarve. All right, and then click Calculate. All right. So now you will see that it's showing me an example of my text. So I'm going to over here on the right, guys, kind of the way to do this is to reset preview, preview all toolpaths. All right, and there you go. There's the carving of our text. It gives us this nice little example. All right, so I need to go back to the 2D view. So I'm going to go up here to the top and click on 2D view. Now I want to do the outsides of my cornhole boards. So I'm going to go to the right and click close. And now I'm going to do a profile toolpath. So profile is used where the bit actually goes in and just cuts around whatever you're doing. All right, cuts around it. I really wish I could move my cameras. Here, I'm gonna turn my cameras off, guys. There you go. All right. So toolpath or profile toolpath. All right, our board is 0.5, so we're gonna go from 0 to 0.5. Make sure it's the 1/4 inch end mill. All right, we want to go around the outside, right? We don't want to lose any material, so we're going to go around the outside. And everything's looking good. So just double check real quick that all your stuff matches mine. And I'm going to call this outside cut. And I'm going to click calculate. So now if I reset preview, preview all, you will see that it has, well, it didn't cut down the middle of our boards, which is weird. Should have went and cut around. Let's see what happens if I just click one of them. Oh, so it worked on that one. Why did it not work on both of them? All right, so let's try that again. Calculate. So for some reason, when I'm clicking both, it's not going down the middle. So I'm going to do right board, left board. All right. So on this first one, I'm only going to click the right board, and I'm going to call it right cut. Right cut, calculate. All right. Then close. Back to our 2D view. So now I'm going to click the left one. And I'm going to do a new one. Profile toolpath. And I'm going to call this one left cut. Now I'm going to calculate. Okay, so reset preview, preview all. And now it cuts both of them out. Beautiful, beautiful, right? So there's our two cornholes. So now we need to do the circles. So the circles are also going to be a profile cut. So I'm going to hold down shift and select them both. All right, they're also going to be a profile cut. So I'm going to click profile. But we want inside, right? We don't want it, we want an actual diameter to be 3 inches. So if we went around the outside, we would lose some of the drill bit. You know, the drill bit's going to cut away some of the wood. All right, so I'm going to call this circles and click calculate. So the only thing I changed was inside. So calculate, reset preview, preview all. Nice. So if you double click on the stuff you want to disappear, so that border, and double click these. All right, nice. We got some good looking cornhole boards coming along. Beautiful, beautiful. So I'm going to click close, go back into my 2D. So now we actually need to carve our images. So depending on what you select is what your carving is going to look like. So we want to use, we could use a pocket, we could use, there's a lot of things we could use here, but I want to use the VCarve. I want to see what an engraving looks like. All right, so just how we did the text. So I'm going to click on the V. 0.15 sounds great. 60-degree bit, yep, sounds great. All right, and this is going to be my PlayStation controller. So what I want to do is decide what to actually, what to select to carve it. So I always like by selecting the whole thing, right? So I select the whole thing and click calculate. Okay, reset preview, preview. Oh, you know what? That don't look too bad. I actually kind of like the way it carved that. I like the way the buttons. All right, so to move it around, guys, I'm just holding down the left mouse click. But I'm kind of digging. Yeah, I'm digging that. I'm digging how that looks. So I think just I think selecting the whole thing actually looks pretty good. All right, and I hope you agree. All right, so now back to my 2D view. So now we need to do the Xbox. So I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to go ahead and, I'm going to click close on the right. And I'm going to go ahead and do another V-bit. Do another VCarve V-bit. And I'm going to call this one Xbox. All right. So I'm going to click calculate, see what it looks like. Ooh, we have open vectors. Oh no, we have duplicate vectors. All right, so what that means is sometimes, if y'all remember, we use the bitmap trace. what happens is it creates doubles of everything. So you see how I have a purple dotted line and there's still a black line behind it. So I need to click everything and click delete. So I'll click there, delete, click there, delete. Let me show you the difference. See how now, see how now when I click this, it highlights the whole thing, but all these little things have a second layer on top. So we have to just get rid of that top layer so we don't have duplicates. It's kind of annoying, but I think we're good. All right. So now I'm going to highlight it again and click calculate and no duplicates. All right. So I'm going to reset preview and preview all. Okay. You know, I'm not a big Xbox fan, but it kind of carved pretty nice. It carved pretty nice there. It's not the worst looking controller I've ever seen. All right, let me double click, get rid of our extra. Okay, looks pretty good. So yeah, guys, this is, I mean, this is it, right? This is two different ways to import images and use them in VCarve. One thing I can show you over here on the right side is your speed. So if I move that speed down and click reset preview and preview all, you're actually going to see the toolpath going at a slower speed. All right, so if you actually want to see how the CNC machine, like the order it's going to go in, you can run this simulation and just turn the speed down. So I'm going to move it up a little bit. All right, so that's a little bit better. So it would actually cut the Adobe Illustrator first, then go do the VCarve. All right, see, I'm just increasing the speed a little bit every time. VCarve trace. All right, this is how it's actually going to cut out the boards. So we're going to go a little bit quicker. A little bit quicker. A little bit quicker. Yeah, you just kind of have to keep turning it up till you get to the speed you like. Yeah. So it cuts this one out too. And then it's going to start working on our carving, right? Oh, our circles first. All right, so now it did the circles really fast. So now it's actually going in and carving the controller. And then if I turn it all the way up, it does it really fast. All right. So you can go up here. I think you learned this in the street sign tutorial. You can change your material. You know, that's what cherry dark wood would look like. Old pine. Ooh, I kind of like the old pine. You can even change colors if you want. Certain materials let you change the color, like plastic, blue plastic. See what it looks like. Unfortunately, we can't change individual stuff because it's all like one sheet. But so I'm gonna change mine back to some type of wood. Right. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. So when I go to grade you, let me turn my cameras back on. When I go to grade you, what I'm looking for is that you have two cornhole board tops, and they are basically you have two different images and they're carved onto there and they look like cornhole board tops. So gonna give you a little more information than that on its learning, but just look out for that. And as always, if you have questions, guys, just reach out. Thank you.